Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be continuing on with our campaign in a new order as Japan. So there's a whole murder mystery thing going on right now. So we'll kind of see how that kind of shapes and evolved as we continue on here. Good evening, AV Geek Forever. How are you doing today? So we have no template right now for improved APC. So why am I building them? That's a great question. Can I throw them into, say, like, what is it? What are you considered? Your improved infantry fighting vehicle. Is that the same thing as an improved APC? Like, where even are you on this list? It's you, right? Why are we making 3 of you if we actually don't use them at all? We'll have, like, one factory kind of keep making them. We'll see if we do something there in the future. Hero around? I believe so. I believe he's still alive. Yeah, this is him, right? HOI4. I believe that is Hirohito at least. Right now we're just fudging some numbers. This is going to give us some more production efficiency. Some nice base. Adjust the budget. We next need maximizing growth, which actually we probably do want to get. Construction speed plus 10% is alright. It's not too bad. What path are we going to do, conservative or liberal? People were saying that the liberal path is pretty good, so maybe we'll try to kind of swing towards that way. Let's go for maximizing growth. 10% construction speed. I mean, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. What country are you going to play after Japan? I was thinking about playing as England after this. Or somebody in Russia, I'm not too sure. The Imperial Japanese Navy deploys. It was a calm day of sailing for Harjo in the Celebes Sea. The waters rocked his fishing boat slowly as he sat in the water waiting for a perfect catch. The pulsing sea was a deep and mystical azure as he was cradled in his fishing boat, beguiled by the humming wave song beneath him. Just as Harjo reclined in a small boat in the sea was vaporously exhaling its mist, dark shadows appeared to sluggishly haul themselves across his lazy vision. They hulked and groaned in the distance, growing larger by the second. Quickly awakened from his dozy rest, Harjo scampered from what now appeared in the once clear waters. Dozens of steel giants, the Imperial Japanese Navy warships armed to the teeth, honking deep and booming horns that shook him to his core and caused his vessel to shudder. The giant metal monsters cut through the waters and dwarfed Harjo's fragile boat, rushing closer in his path. He clambered to start his motor, pulling with a sweaty haste, glancing back at the warships crashing in his direction every few seconds. The sleek painted metal shape of the ships were pillars in the ocean, great monoliths of imperial strength, piercing through the shrouds of mist. They loomed over him and cut through the foamy waters at lightning speeds. Finally, the motor coughed into action, and Harjo scurried towards the coastline at an animal pace. The warship, still charging in a steel blockade, honked once more, shaking his every bone and shuddering him as they rushed further into Indonesian waters. He fought against the waters once calmed him, bouncing off the smallest of waves in a fearful dash to the shore. The thundering blast of the naval horn had cleaved any sense of safety he had once had in those waters, and carved the adrenal wave of awe, of wartime fear, in its callow heart. Will become normal England or His Majesty's Resistance England? I'm not too sure. It's going to be one of those things that we'll kind of play for. We'll play it and get kind of a feel for how it's going. Kind of determine our path a little bit more that way. If you have any, like, which one's better? Just normal England or the Resistance England? Like, which one actually... Well, which one has more content? Would be a good place for us to start, because I know it did get updated recently. Get some planes reserve. 3 dockyards. Okay, yeah, let's build some ships. First things first, we're just gonna build like submarines, just because I feel like they're usually pretty decent. How many convoys do we have? I don't know, because it's actually not listed. How many convoys are building right now? Let's just shrink this down to 2. Seems alright. You guys are going to take years to actually finish building. But it's not a huge concern. We're just getting military factories slowly built up. Consumer factories at 74%. I think because we reduced our construction budget significantly last time. The Thatcher's still around. I did see that. I think that you can get Thatcher in. With 179 political power, is there anything we actually want to do with that? Right now, we're still sympathetic to tradition. So I really don't think there's anything I can spend my political power actually on, at least right now. So while this is all still going on, let's just see what's happening in the world. You're still getting a South African plan. Germany is challenging Goran's competence. What's China doing? They're doing technical subjects. Okay, so nothing too crazy quite yet. The wolves who cried, boy. Scandal. Politician undermines the emperor. Yukio Akiyama slipped out the door just inside the National Diet wearing a brown long coat and deep shaded glasses. He held his fedora as he skipped down the steps, ushering himself out of view of the crowds of the press. Yelling and commotion beat him as cameras clicked and flashed. A rush of questions and accusations filled the thick air with embarrassment and flushes of confusion. Akiyama coughed up scuttering replies and broken insults towards the tumbling mass of reporters, blinded by flashes and more cameras, unable to get a word in amongst the allegations tossed in his face by rival politicians in the Diet. A microphone was hurled in his face, prompting him to answer for his crimes. Akiyama cleared his throat and explained his criticism of extrajudicial killings in northwestern China by the military, even detailing his support for the same legal systems in which the emperor was a sovereign of. Before he could finish his statement, the reporters hissed back at him, scoffing with the more extreme accusation of treason. Akiyama's face colored further in frustration, and he rushed through the crowd of reporters, slandering his every step. Images of his face circulated in the press for the next day, branding him as a traitor and an opportunist. Followed by the news of his resignation, his words to condemn military operations in China were shortened and trimmed to fit the articles. Most branding him as a threat to the empire. The news, although alarming, quickly siphoned him out of political affairs, and discussions of a violent happening was not to occur again. Liberal factions' power increases somewhat, public improvement decreases somewhat. I think the royal family's just in England. Who's in charge? Because I think you're just the prime minister. Because you're the Kingdom of England. I'm actually not too sure what's happening with the royals in England at the moment. So you're maximizing growth. After that, construction speed goes up. 4 civilian factories are just pretty good, so we're going to go with that one first. And what would you want to research next? Well, you know what? Just a heart attack recovery rate. Both of those seem like they're pretty acceptable for us at the moment. I don't know if like the Germans put like a puppet king in the throne, or if it's who was it? Was it Edward the Seventh? Edward the Eighth? Who's the one that resigned in like 39 or 38? I can't remember what his name is. Which is surprising, because he's like one of the main characters in Kaiserreich, and I can't remember. I think it's Edward the Eighth. You have any extra research slots in the focus tree? I don't actually think so. At least right now, my focus tree is pretty limited. Until we get down to the riches continue, that'll expand the focus tree a little bit more. But really, to be quite honest, I don't think the research tree matters so much, at least right now. Primarily because there isn't that much war that happens in this mod. Like, when we play as United States, I think we got involved in 3 conflicts, and none of them were against people of equal strength. That might be slightly different for Japan, but we'll see. Because the United States has now just declared war on Ghana, which is very similar to what happened in our campaign. So we'll see what they do there. I mean, it depends on the AI can actually even get the landing to work, which I kind of have my my doubts about that. If they can even get that to work. Okay, so we've met with investors, giving us 4 factories is just really nice. 2 military factories, of course we want to get that. We'll expand some lobbying. That seems completely acceptable for us. I mean, is there anything we want to do here? Like, we can discredit faction, we can attack their publicity. Slander campaign. I mean, you know, we have 220 political power. So why not? The independents are pretty powerful, so we're going to launch a slander campaign against them. And we're going to attack your publicity. 65% support. We have 31% of public approval. That seems okay. Debauchery. After Furuyawa gave a speech over the economic restrictions in place for the public due to the national mobilization law that has gripped the attention of the House of Peers, he was met with an immense applause. He took a bow and returned to his seat amongst the allies of the chamber. The chatter flooded the great hall with each of the peers discussed amongst one another, while civil servants arranged documents, wrote lists, and passed around files relating to the debatable topics at hand. Dozens of members about their seats, some debating amongst themselves over the session that had just ended. Member Furuyawa was amongst one of these groups, as he swiveled behind him to discuss the lavish new cars that he had bought with his money, shared by party members in the night before in an evening entertainment session. Thinking he could not be heard, he continued to smirk with his colleagues over the fun they had and the riches they could now spend on. He sniffed after a great laugh and heard an echo in the microphone throughout the chamber. Immediately glanced over to the center of the room to see most of the standing peers gazing at him. Fujiwara, glancing in different directions around the room, with an embarrassment flush creeping over his face, he swallows a dry mouthful of air and takes a deep breath. Before disconnecting the microphone under the judging eyes of dozens of his political rivals, the images of newly washed cars, the young women, and the expensive wine burned through his head as he shrunk to his chair from the embarrassment. His suit clinged onto him with a sudden coat of sweat he was now lathered in. His eyes drifted towards the president of the House of Peers, whose eyes were round and hateful. And he exhaled slowly, placing his hands over his chin, and remained stiffly silent for the rest of the session. So is the House of Peers just the House of Lords? I like your Victoria 2 Cold War UK playthrough. Before we got nuked, would you do that again? I would probably play through the Cold War mod again in Victoria 2. I don't know when exactly we would do it. Because, you know, CK3 is releasing in a few weeks from now, which is probably going to take up a lot of space on the channel. I'm not too sure who exactly we're going to play in CK3 when it comes out, but I have some ideas. But it can definitely be making a return soonish. Like, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to the idea. Where are you guys again? Yeah, you're the ones that are actually in California, right? Yes, you're supporting right. Oh, the United States they did manage to land in Ghana or Guyana, so good for them. What are all you guys doing? We got Italy just hanging around. Greatest threat into decisiveness. What's Burgundy doing? We don't know. Fair enough. Because the Unity Pact still exists. Because Hitler is not dead quite yet. I think Ghana has just surrendered. Yeah, not a huge surprise. Is it bad Victoria 2 looks complicated? No. A lot of people do say that it's probably one of the more complicated Paradox games. I have like 700 hours or something in it, so at this point I understand it well enough. But yeah, people do say that it's probably one of the more complicated ones. Aside from like Hearts of Iron 3, which I know people say is very complicated as well. I haven't actually played Hearts of Iron 3 that much. I think I tried like one campaign on my off time as like Spain. We did get some more military factories, which is nice. Is there anything that we need? We need Type 26s. We can throw some more factories into those. Yeah, we'll go up to 5. There we go. Fantastic. We do have our planes in reserve. Like, how many planes do we have? I mean, a decent number. So, I mean, we'll deploy them. Why not? And, of course, we have just a ton of missiles. I mean, really, what the planes are doing right now doesn't matter so much. Primarily because we're not at war. China has a focus tree. Manchukuo does not. Does anybody else around here actually have any, focus trees? I think it might just be China. Indonesia has a focus tree, apparently. But it looks like that's about it for now, at least within our actual sphere. Maybe the Philippines? No. So, at least within Asia right now, Japan, China, Indonesia has focus trees. The rest of them, unfortunately, do not, at least at the moment. Yeah, 200 political power. You're going to be done in 20 days. We're actually going to get 2 events, Crushing Underfoot and the Green Light. Another issue is in the budget, which needs updating. Okay, fair enough. I think that was Naval Doctrine. After that, let's go for Submarine Organization, 167 days. Not too bad. Do I have any spies? I do, right? Like, you're in the United States, I believe. Yeah, you're just building a network there. So, you have 95. Just maintain a network. Like, that should be okay. Luckily, United States hasn't tried to intervene in our affairs quite yet. Italy has won the Italo-Turkish Wars, peace in the Middle East. No, I have not played as Germany yet. All I've done, in the full version of the mod, I guess I should say, I should preference that. I played the United States, and now I'm playing Japan. Those are the only countries I played in the full version. In the demos, I played as South Africa, and then I played as a handful of these guys. I think I played as Orenburg, and this dude, Lysenko. Don't know how to actually pronounce the name of the country that he is, but those are the only countries that I've actually played in the new order. As of right now, I'll probably do a Germany campaign at some point. I don't know when. Crushed underfoot. After the allegation of corruption within the Aino government, student demonstrations had gathered around various locations in Tokyo, with large groups outside the National Diet, outside the National Diet building. They waved place cards and wore masks to cover their mouths, while chanting slogans and chimes to mock Prime Minister Ino from the streets. Photographers danced around the boundaries of the groups of protesters. The monumentally fair glare of the camera flash caught these moments in time. Umbrellas freckled throughout the swarm of protesters, lifted in color display of green, whites, and reds. The chants, the chatter of the streets was booming, and a commotion was shaking. It seemed that there was little order at all. That was until a horn signaled from the west side of the street. The attention of a tremendous crowd shifted to the left. A great line of horses stood by the west side, opening a street, backed by the ranks of what appeared to be the Metropolitan Police. They were fitted in deep navy blue armor, with small shields and batons and other wild control gear to face the protesters. There was silence for a moment as the protesters turned to face the police, but as the horn wailed again, the horses charged into the thickness of the crowds. Screams began to echo from the streets. A blunt force and violence between law authority and protesters descended onto the streets, and hundreds of unarmed students dissipated into the surrounding areas to avoid police bludgeoning and arrest. The violence and screams filled the district, only matched by the hiss of water hoses used to punish the protesters further, and the armor-clad police continued to march past the Diet building in a regimented, hauling trudge. Public approval decreases somewhat, losing 20 political power, and 10% stability is quite a lot. We're actually still at 100%, so things are actually fine. I believe Japan does start off with nuclear missiles. So if you ever get in a war with the United States or Germany, we could end up nuking them. We'll see how that goes. The Green Light. A restaurant sits at the street corner, clashing of pots and the boiling of steam emanating from within. A small woman, firmly gripping her purse, enters the restaurant and walks by the counter, staring at the cooks while doing so. She enters the kitchen, wherein one of the cooks collects a wadded-up bill from her hand for ushering her down the ladder. Underneath some floorboards, she takes a seat in a circle of chairs, unfurling a book from her bag, a poorly manufactured, poorly kept novel about 1920s America. Under the scratches and tears, the title reads, The Great Gatsby. The book club meeting goes by as it normally does. She sits there quietly, listening to the others discuss the themes and meanings of Tom Buchanan as a character, or the rose-colored moving room to page 10 and whatnot. Discussion of the first chapter flies by, all while she stares down at a copy of the book. Are those eyes she can make out on the cover? Her attention is caught when someone offhandedly mentions the green light at the bay. Well, the translation was unclear, but she was pretty sure the green light sat under the water of the bay. She raises her voice. After thinking about it, I would have guessed for what the green light might represent. Looking around, she readies her throat. The green light is both Daisy and the American dream. Gatsby begins the life as a poor man which is why he can't marry Daisy when he wants to. He works up to his position of wealth, only to find that he still can't marry Daisy. Wealth does not change his heritage or his new money personality. Personally. Both Daisy and American Dream lie underneath the water, out of his reach. It represents how the American Dream isn't real. The idea that any man can be a parvenu just isn't true. Money can't break culture tradition, even in this American golden age. The book club falls silent, even though no one says so. They can't help but make the connections of the American Dream to themselves. They sit there reading solidly made novels in a dingy restaurant basement. The Emperor is the master of Asia. They formed a Pan-Asian brotherhood of nations across Pacific, and yet there they are. Where is the glory? The justice. Well, the green light's not under the water. It's on like a dock, I think. But still. The wrangling of Governor General. So it's going to be army experience, political power minus 50. I mean, we have 217 political power, so we're still doing fine there. There we go. We have 190 members of our parliament. Increase budget for you. Paranoia. I mean, paranoia is pretty high, actually. So 40% support from the army. We have 75% support, 75% support from the navy. But we're extremely paranoid. Currently dominating the military. Well, we can increase your budget. Less support. You know what? Let's encourage inter-service war games. I'm sure that matters. I'm sure that means something. Bulgaria has sided with Italy. That is fine. Even though Italy never actually gets a faction. They just kind of make all these guys in like puppet states. Surprisingly, Yugoslavia does still exist. Tito's just hanging out here. Right in the border of Italy. I'm surprised they're not doing anything about it. But maybe it's just not programmed into the mod quite yet. I'm not too sure. What after that? That's like 8 civilian factories. That's pretty good. That's a nice little upgrade for us. And what's after that? Then we get political power plus 100. Factory output's going up is a nice. So this should all be done sooner rather than later. You are breakthrough for tanks. Do I need both? No, I just need one. So let's get you research so I can at least maybe go down the tree a little bit more. And overall, I think things are going pretty well. Like, what are you missing? Right now you're missing IM fees. I know we do have kind of a limited supply of that at the moment. Then we're going to go down to the first quarter report. Were you going to give us an event? No, you were just political power and army experience, so it's not really a big deal. I wonder what happened to that whole murder mystery, because I don't think it ever got resolved, and I haven't gotten a pop of it for it, at least recently. Like, I don't remember it being solved, at least. Maybe it did get resolved. And we're just great detectives. Only 27% support for us. Falling below 30% will rapidly diminish the ruling party's faction's power. Because I had 190 seats. We're already down to 156. So we're very unpopular. But I think that's kind of okay. I don't know how we improve our standing with you guys. What about if I defund you? We save money. I'm assuming we kind of want to balance this out as much as we possibly can. We'll sign you into Blue Army. If things are balanced, that should mean that we're hopefully less likely to be couped. Right now, the army doesn't really trust us. Which I guess I can kind of understand. Yeah, some of you guys just go up towards there. Metai assumes control of the Gulf. Is that the, who's Metai? Mattel. Okay, so you are now just kind of controlling the Gulf states. Fair enough, I guess. And glory to the sphere. How many countries start with nukes? As far as I know, at the very beginning, I think it's just Germany, the United States, and Japan. Burgundy gets nukes pretty early on. Last campaign, we did see that Italy has nukes, or they can get nukes eventually. But I think it might be just those 5. Maybe some other people can get it as well. But those 5 for sure I know. I know those 5 at least. So we want some more research. Let's go for more naval targeting. Yeah, more naval doctrine as well. Because the Navy is pretty important for our Japan. I would say at least. You know, we are an island nation, so it makes sense that we want to be as powerful as we possibly can be. Is Italy already out of focus trees? Maybe. So not too sure what's happening here quite yet. Because Hitler is sick. I think he starts off sick in the beginning of the campaign. Was he... just trying to remember when he died. I think 63 is when he died, like October. October of this year, I think, is about when he actually dies. So... Or October of 64. Somewhere like that is when Hitler dies. It creates a massive shift in the political power of Europe, because this is going to break apart. As Japan, I don't think we really have either any input, or we even care at all what actually happens with Germany. Other than we want it to be as weak as possible. I think is probably the best case situation. Let's make this aircraft build a little bit faster. I think that seems alright. 112. 20% utilization. What if... Okay. I'm going to increase civilian construction a little bit. There we go. We've gotten like 13 more factories out of that. Seems pretty useful for us. And then the riches continue. Our economy will be a shining model for the rest of the world. I don't know if I believe in that, because Japan does have an event where the stock market just completely collapses, which is kind of what I assume is going to be happening once we finish this focus tree, to be honest. But we shall see. Right now, how popular are we? Not occupied territory. We want to look at the government. We are losing many seats. Who's actually the biggest party then? Is it still me? 123, 123. Me and the independents under Miki actually have about the same number of seats here. So that mean they could maybe try to overthrow us. How do I get more public confidence? Now we're 27. Public support is crucial for any government wishing to safely rule over the state. The Empire of Japan is not an exception to this. The Prime Minister's government thrives and shrivels under the public watchful eye. Volume about 30%. Okay, so it doesn't actually tell me how to get more approval, at least at the moment. We actually became unpopular. Oh, using... Wait, this cost... Oh, this costs public approval. I see. We're gonna launch a propaganda campaign then? 28%? Okay, you know, we're getting a little bit better there. Apparently, I've just been reading that thing wrong the whole time, so I apologize for that. Let's pull some more planes. Planes are fun. Okay, so you can be ready in 2 more days. That should give us some more focus tree stuff. And the riches continue. And you should change in but a moment. I don't know when that's going to happen, though. So, for the time being, you're actually not doing anything. I'm assuming at some point, either you die or something's going to happen to Italy. We're going to give them more of a focus tree. Because we did see last time that they did have much more to their actual focus tree than what they've done so far. Let's go for... just more organization, I think, seems good. Try to get the reformist bureaucrats in power. Which one are the reformist bureaucrats? Probably the one that are labeled as reformist. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if it ends up going that way, then we'll do it. But we'll kind of see how things kind of shape out, at least for the moment. Because right now, I don't have a focus tree, which is really unfortunate. Aragon takeover of the Levant. The Jews have found their Zion, but at what cost? So Israel now exists. Last time this went communist. This time it's becoming Israel. Sure. Do they have a focus tree? Yeah, they don't. Not a huge surprise. People in Siberia are still fighting against each other. Yeah, so just let them have their fights. We're not too concerned about that at the moment. Do you have any like pretty bad modifiers here? Civilian factory use +5. I mean, it's probably like a tunnel. Is that between here and Korea? I'm assuming. That's actually probably what this straight crossing is. That this is actually like a tunnel. Central Siberian Republic declare war on the Siberian Black Army. Offensive war support -10%. So I think people get more mad if we declare war than they otherwise would be. You guys are at war. Is there any other like major wars happening? I don't think so. It's really just conflicts in Russia, which is not a huge surprise. You know, conflicts in Russia happen all the time in this mod. Anything we can do here? I mean, this is actually... I was gonna say it's all maxed out. It actually isn't. So you know what? Let's go for... Sure, let's do some stuff here. I thought the white meant that it was finished, but apparently it means that you haven't started it yet. If anything, I would just make these boxes, you know, empty. I feel like that works out a little bit better and makes more sense, but what do I know? Not that the spies, I think, really accomplished too much. Who are you at war with? You're at war with Tomsk? I mean, Tomsk is looking pretty powerful. We'll see if they can actually win here. You're surprised Japan turned out this way. I thought they would be half monarchist in power and half fascist. Well, I mean, Japan... As far as I know, right now we have Type 26s. You know, let's upgrade those guys. In all the I don't think all of them can reform Russia. I think just a handful can. I know West Russia can. Tomsk, I think can. Some of these other people can. It's not everybody though. I think about half of them can. I think it depends, one, if they have a focus tree or not. Like, if they have a focus tree, then they're, I think, more likely to be able to reform Russia. The ones that don't, obviously can't, because there's no actual programming for them to do anything yet. When do we get our next focus tree? That's kind of my question at the moment. Right now, we have 95 people. Okay, we have 31% support now. The Independents, I think, are the biggest party. Yeah, right now they are. We're not going to be losing any more seats because at least we have above 30% approval. Most of them can. Okay. Root and deploy. You guys are still slowly being made. We're only making 0.3. This seems horrible. Please make more factories if you can. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just make more of these as we possibly can. Right now we have 6 factories just working on this. Do we need to build more naval dockyards? Because right now we have 120 civilian factories. We just have such high consumer goods, 30% utilization. 56%. But like we're poor. I mean, I could. Like we're still losing money, which is a problem. Let's pay off a little bit of our debt. Increase the construction budget a little bit more. Now we're actually building 2 things at once. So that seems pretty good. What do we want to research after you? Maybe like an air doctrine. Do we have any of those going? Not really. So you know what? Let's go for the defensive tactics. Seems alright. Some warlords in Russia that dual focus trees can't unify, like Oniga. Okay. The all-Russian... I'm guessing the all-Russian government and of Amur can probably form a united Russia because they are called the all-Russian government. So that makes sense to me. Okay, so it's August of 1963. Yeah, you're now doing the Christian Democrats. So I think Hitler dies soon. I'm pretty sure he dies soon. But like we still don't have any new ideas here. What are China's national spirits? Japan's bread basket. Slave of the samurai seems pretty bad for them. Small army, which also seems we cannot train, disband, or edit unit templates without the permission of our Japanese overlords. So they seem to defend Tiger, poor education. They're in a sad, sad state of affairs. I think that's really one thing we can say about China right now is that they are not looking great. Because you're educating the poor. I think once they do the conference, they can start to maybe rebel against our rule. Which is unfortunate, because we don't obviously want them to fight against us. Yes, Cheetah, Magadan, and Amur can all unify, so I'm guessing all these guys. Amur has gotten a little bit more powerful. Cheetah, I think, is probably going to lose. I mean, where's their capital? I think their capital's down here. So we shall see. And Tomsk is actually doing pretty poorly against the Black Army and against Kemerovo. Not doing so hot there. We'll also keep upgrading you guys. You're ahead of time. So let's upgrade weapons here. Seems all fine and good. Iberia announces the creation of the Iberian Council, a useless organization for a weak state. So we'll kind of see how Iberia fares in the future. Is a civil war in Iberia guaranteed, or is it just very likely to happen? I know there's various stages of what could happen there. Okay, we have 4.43 billion. National debts, GDP. I mean, we do have more GDP. We're actually earning more money than we spend, which is nice. Earning some money there is going to be nice for us. Okay, so you have just died. Led by this dude who looks very, very, very upset. Looks very just old, I guess you could say. Honestly, I'm going to increase construction budget again. We're still making money, so I'm kind of fine with that. But we're going to be building factories much faster. Fuel silo. You know what? Even building some fuel silos, I think just in kind of useless territory will be fine for us. Because we do need more fuel. Very likely, but it can be avoided. Okay, good to know. How many troops do you guys actually have? You have 20, you have 13. I have 50 divisions, which isn't a ton. Principality of Comoros declared war on the People's Revolutionary Council. So now you're at war. You were the one who our Mongolia could not fight, unfortunately. Or, like, they couldn't win against them. I wish we could just re-invade them right now, but unfortunately I don't think that's possible. What's everybody else doing at the moment? You aren't doing anything, because I think Hitler is about to die. Dwight's Focus Street doesn't go on for much longer. Someone's saying 121 IF fees, huh? Yeah, no, the German Civil War cannot be avoided. It's going to happen no matter what. Carrier organization spotting speed, I think that seems fine. We'll go with that. Okay, so they turn red when they're finished. So I guess after that, let's form an army department. The unification of Yunnan and Guizhou. Today, the two cliques of Yunnan and Guizhou have unified under a fierce debate, which was held in a small city of Fujian. The region of southwest China is now radically changed as the unified state is able to project influence in a way that allows it to near total influence control over the region. No matter the implications of this event, it is certain that the region is now forever changed for better or for worse. Are they unified? I'm looking at this and they do not seem unified. So I feel like you're just lying to me. We'll send you over to Blue Army. When is our election, by the way? Like, is there an election? If there is, I don't know when it is. We have 500 political power. We might as well be spending it. Discredit their faction. You're at 119. You guys are at 109. We're at 98. So we're still the third. We have no support in the House of Peers? How did that happen? We had like 50% just a moment ago. The gods of the North. Let's do another propaganda campaign. Wait for the economic war. When does that happen now? Because apparently the House of Peers support went from 50 to 10 very quickly, and I don't know how that happened. It like dropped like a rock. Just straight into the ocean. Just boom. Bavarian Black Armies declared war on the Principality of Karmanovo. How many troops do you guys actually have? 7 and 9. You have 4 divisions that cover that entire front? Yeah, that doesn't seem like you have much of a chance to actually win there, I would say. We might also get like some invasion plans here ready to go. Just in case. Don't worry, China. Nothing bad could possibly happen here. What troops does Indonesia have? You guys have 23 divisions. Philippines have 0, but that's okay. I don't think the Philippines would really matter too much. Oh no, White Omsk? I don't know what that means. So... Oh, Omsk also has 2 different sites for some reason? I don't know how they took over here. The Divine Mandate of Siberia? Who the hell? We did not see this last time. Who the hell are you? Yeah, we definitely did not see any of this last time. It means a bug happened? What's the bug? A typo in the code? You're also at war with this dude. Sure, why not? Does the bug in the code for Omsk impact us at all? Like, will it affect this campaign in any serious matter or no? So if it doesn't affect us, then I'm not too worried about it. Declares war on you. Oh, no, so Omsk supposed to become this guy, I think? It will for Russia, but not for you. Okay, then we're not going to worry about it. What is this mod about? The mod essentially is World War II. The Axis won. Everything was going really, really well for the Axis up until 1962, where everything starts to collapse. That's the gist of the backstory, I think. You think you're strong enough to take on the United States currently? Could I don't actually know if I could. Let me just take a look at their numbers. They have about the same number of troops. They have even more ships than I do. And they have significantly more aircraft than I do. So it depends on if we were to go to war right now, maybe not. But if I was to put all of my troops into these two ports and then try to attack, I think we could win eventually. Wait, Germany supposed to have a civil war right now? I mean, he's not dead, so... Was there like an update to the mod? Since the last time I played this, like, I think it was like Friday I played it. If there was an update that kind of broke stuff, then, that's a bit unfortunate. I can... Okay, let me see. Gone over... Like, I mean, Hitler is not... He's not dead yet. Okay, what I'm gonna do... We're gonna take a quick look at what Germany's doing. I'm just gonna save the game quickly. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna tag Germany. Well, we'll see what it says here. I mean, it still says that he's severely ill. So, he might just not be dead yet. Is it supposed to happen on a specific date? The update probably broke stuff. Well, let's wait a few more months. I mean, I'll actually just check on my phone while this is running in the background. Cause if it broke, then we're probably just gonna start a new campaign. It'll be unfortunate if that's the case. We want to go to Steam. We want to go to Steam Workshop. Where even has that? Because it has been months since we've even had a... Let me just check. We want to go to Google. Actually, it probably makes more sense to just go to Steam. Library, Hearts of Iron 4, Workshop, your files, scribed items. It says here it was last updated on August 15th, which was the Saturday after I started the campaign. So, let me see. Does it say? Type World War 1 to kill Hitler. I'm just gonna check, because if it's completely broken, even like for us, let's check their Discord. Maybe their Discord says something about save game compatibility announcements. Welcome. I'm trying to see, like, I don't see anything here. Because if it's broken for us as well. Hitler should be dead. The game's probably bugged. Yeah, because even if Hitler dies, though, that doesn't resolve the case where, like, my focus tree now doesn't actually work. So, I guess if it's bugged, then we're just going to kind of stop this campaign. As unfortunate as